All right, Alicia. So I'm just going to try and see how this works out. I went through and wrote the problem, but I didn't put any stops in there, so this may get a little messy. We'll see how it works. So here's the first problem. Problem number 4. You have the systems of equations, and what I did is I just rewrote. I'm going to go a little bit faster here. Rewrote the system of equations as a matrix. So we have 9, -1, 4, 75. Whoops, that jumped way ahead. Okay, so there's our matrix right there. And basically what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and get it to look like the identity matrix. There are a couple of different ways to solve this, and it's been a really long time since I've done these kind of problems, and so this is the one that I remember the best, and so that's the one I went with. And it was basically just doing echelon, kind of manipulating the rows to make it look like that. If this isn't how it works, I don't know. This does give you the solution, so we'll see how it goes. So the first thing I wanted to do is you want to get ones along the diagonal and then fill in the zeros from there. So this one right here looks like it's the best one to put in the top row because it already has a 0 in the second place, and we can get a 1 in the first place pretty easily in place of that 5. So in order to get a 1 in place of the 5, you just have to divide everything by 5. So we're going to do row 2 divided by 5, and then we're going to put it in row 1. So we'll rewrite the matrix, and so 5 divided by 5 is 1, 0 divided by 5 is 0, -4 divided by 5 is -4/5, and then -7 divided by 5 is -7/5. Okay, now we're going to figure out our next step. It looks like the best thing to put in that second row is going to be what I have circled here in green. And to get a 1 where the 2 is, all we have to do is divide by 2. So we're going to take row 3 of our original, divide it by 2, and put it in row 2 of our next. So row 3 divided by 2, put it in row 2. So 0 divided by 2 is 0, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 1 divided by 2 is 1/2, and 12 divided by 2 is 6. And then all I'm going to do is take row 1 and put it in row 3 for right now, because I think that's about as complicated as we need to get for this part. So far I have a 1 and 0 in the top, and then 0, 1 in the second one. So in the third row we need to get a 0 in that first position. So the best way to get a 0 in that first position is if we multiply everything in the top by -9, and then if we add that to row 3 and put it in row 3, that's going to get us a 0. So unfortunately it does involve fractions, but I don't think you're going to be able to escape them. So I'm just going to rewrite those first 2 rows, and then -9 times 1 is -9 plus 9 is 0. -9 times 0 plus -1 gives me -1. -9 times -4/5. -9 times -4 is +36. So 36/5. And then I have to add 4 to that. So 36/5 plus 4, which is 20/5, gives me 56/5. So 56/5 there. And then the last part we have to do 75. So -9 times 75. Or sorry, I'm looking in the wrong place. -9 times -7/5 plus 75. So -9 times -7 is 63. So 63/5 plus 75. And if we want to get 75/5, 75 times 5 gives us 375, so it's going to be 375/5. And we add those together, 63 plus 375, we end up with 438/5. So that last row looks pretty ugly, but at least we are getting close to getting rid of that second part. So, I mean the -1. So in order to get rid of that -1, what we're going to do is take row 2 and add it to row 3, and then put it in row 3, and then we'll have what we're looking for. So again, we'll rewrite those first 2 rows, and then row 2 plus row 3 down here. Oops, it's okay. Row 2 plus row 3. So 0 plus 0 gives me 0. 1 plus -1 gives me 0. 1/2 plus 56/5. So 56/5 plus 1/2. So 5/10 plus 112/10 gives me 117/10. And then if we add 6 plus 438/5, that's 30/5 plus 438/5 gives me 468/5. So again, ugly fractions, but still works. And then we just need to turn that into a 1. The 117/10 needs to turn into a 1. So we just multiply by the reciprocal. So 10/117 times row 3 and put it in row 3. So here's our first 2 rows. Okay, so 10/117 times 0 is 0. 10/117 times 0 is 0. 10/117 times 117/10 is 1. And then if we multiply 468/5 over 10/117, 5 goes into 10 twice. And then 468 times 2 is 936. So 936/117. And if we divide 936 divided by 117, it actually goes in exactly 8 times. So that ugly fraction turned into a nice, pretty 8. So far we know that z is equal to 8. From here it's a lot prettier. It's not as ugly with all those fractions. So we need to go upward now. We need to get rid of that 1/2 above the 1. So in order to do that, we're going to do -1/2 times row 3, add it to row 2, and put it in row 2. So -1/2 times 0. Oh, well, let's write that bottom row first. Okay, now -1/2 times 0 is just 0. Added to 0 is 0. -1/2 times 0 again is 0. Added to 1 is just 1. -1/2 times 1 plus 1/2 gives me 0. -1/2 times 8 is -4. -4 plus 6 is +2. So now we have that y is equal to 2. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to figure out how to get rid of that -4/5. And in order to do that, we're just going to multiply 4/5 times row 3, add it to row 1, and put it in row 1. So 4/5 times 0 plus 1 is 1. 4/5 times 0 plus 0 is 0. 4/5 times 1 plus -4/5 is 0. And then here's the important part. 4/5 times 8 plus -7/5, and we get 32/5 minus 7/5 gives us 25/5, which is 5. So the solution then is x equals 5, y equals 2, and z equals 8. I don't know if that's how you've been doing it, but that's one of the ways that I know how to do it. If that doesn't help, just let me know, and we'll go from there. Thanks.